MovieWeb.com.
Hey, what's that?
It says, will you marry...
Will you marry me?
No.
Really?
I know it shouldn't bother me that you're a zookeeper, but it kind of does.
Really?
5 years later, the world's most devoted zookeeper
Come on, Donald. Let's move you out of the sun.
is getting a second chance.
I hope my being here doesn't make you uncomfortable.
I'm not uncomfortable. So comfortable.
Oh my God.
No, it's fine, I got it. Oh, God, it's barbed. Okay, so hey, how you doing?
Now,
Offer still on the table for you to come work with me at the dealership. That is how you get a girl like Stephanie.
I gotta get out of the zoo.
So basically, you're surrounded by wild animals the entire film. Tell our audience, what's the best and worst day of filming with the animals?
Best day was probably the first day because the smell hasn't settled in yet, and the worst day was the day that I got peed on by the giant elephant. She peed standing there, and it overflowed, and I was sitting down next to her at the time, and it just rushed out like an ocean and caught me and took me out to sea.
I'm not lying to you. There really wasn't one bad day. And I think you sort of see it on the screen. Like, every day was really, really fun. I think the worst part about it is that we had to shoot a lot of nights because that's when you could be on, at the zoo is later. So there was a lot of night shoots, which is hard because you sort of live like a vampire lifestyle, but still not bad. Best day? I don't know, there were a lot. I loved getting to do that Paso Doble because I'd never done that. And as corny as it sounds, I had such a good time working with Kevin, and I really loved that opening scene. That opening scene and the last scene with me and Kevin, those proposal scenes were really good.
Those were good for me.
Yeah, and we found a lot of fun improv in there, and that was great.
I think the best day is just the beginning day, and the worst is the end. And especially at the end of the day when they're when they're full and they're tired, and so you can't get their attention as much, and you think, aren't I just as lovable as you are? I want to spend all day with you. How come you don't want to spend all day with me? No, I loved them. I thought it was really, really fun, and I was really sad when the movie ended because it was really, you get really used to seeing them every single day and their personalities, and and then suddenly that divide is back up again, and you realize if I ever go to a zoo again, they're not gonna let me feed the giraffe or any of those different things. Like, there were certain abilities that we were able to opportunities that we were able to kind of exploit during this that, I miss already.
The female eagle is attracted to the male that can fly the highest.
Right back.
Okay. All right.
What is he doing?
So you've got a lot of great physical comedy, a lot of pratfalls, and you have this great dance scene where you're hanging from these white ribbons. Talk about filming that. Is that all the stuntman, or is that you taking some?
No, that was me. The ribbons was pretty much all me, where I was floating through the air, and I'm not good with heights, but it was almost fun. It really was. It was enjoyable, and then I hit the stunt woman at the end. It was actually my wife played the part, but at the last minute they switched her out for a stunt woman who was great, and I took her out, and then I spun around, and then it was Jeff Gibson hitting that ice sculpture. That ice sculpture just killed. That was hard, but he nailed it. And Jeff Gibson is one of my stunt guy, and he was awesome.
So Kevin's your man in the film, and you guys have this great dance scene where you're kind of twirling around on these white ribbons. Can you talk about filming that scene in particular?
Well, Kevin and I watched, kind of getting into that character and into that scene. We watched Leslie and Joe doing their dance scene, and it's completely different to ours because it's super choreographed and really amazing, and it's a beautiful dance that they do, and it's very athletic and all this kind of stuff. And then here we come in and we're just completely goofy, and he's heartbroken, and I'm trying to be his wing woman, and it's just all about us being as preposterous as possible. So the better that they were at their dance, the worse we were at ours. And it was actually a really, really fun time to sort of just create a romantic moment that's about being friends, that's about just being kind of letting loose and just being absolutely the worst people to ever invite to your wedding ever, because it's awful what they do at this wedding, but in terms of their romance, it's really beautiful.
Well, let me ask you about the dance scene. The scene where you're like competing with each other's interests.
I mean, who does that at a wedding, first of all? What a J-hole shows up. I might as well should have worn white, too, at that. You know, like who shows up and is like, I'm gonna do a dance.
I mean, that's a hilarious scene. Talk about the choreography. What was that day like?
Well, that choreography, I became hell-bent, and Todd Garner, I said to him, I'm not using my dance double. I'm not using my dance double. I'm not gonna do it. So, and I didn't, and I'm really proud of it. I trained for about 4 to 6 weeks. I can't remember how long it really ended up being, but we trained in LA. And then Joe Rogan was working, so I trained with just his dance double. And then I trained for a couple weekends in Boston to just like freshen up on that dance. It's a long dance. I mean, even though it's only like 3 minutes, it's the longest 3 minutes of your life. Like, you are so winded. Those dance, I don't know how people do it on Dancing with the Stars. I used to make fun of them people. I was like, Dancing with the Stars. It's the hardest gig on television. Those people learn a new dance every week. I don't know how they do it. It's really taxing. It's really, really taxing, but it was so fun.
You've got a really hard thing to do in this film. You got to go between Leslie and Rosario.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can survive. Can you talk about working with those ladies?
It's tough, you know. It can be very difficult to show up at work and have to look at those two all day long. Ugh. I feel bad for them, because it's got to be bittersweet for them when they realize they get the movie, but then they find out that I'm the love interest. So they're excited about getting the movie, but then they were great. They were awesome, and they brought more to the film than I ever could have imagined with the comedy. And Rosario, especially because I didn't know her as a comedic actress. I knew Leslie Bibb cracked me up in Talladega Nights and everything she's done. She's just phenomenal. But Rosario, I knew was a great actor, but I didn't know she could bring the comedy, and she brought the comedy in heaps. Heaps.
Kevin James.
The best way to attract a female is to be seen with another female.
Come on, soar like an eagle!
Zookeeper.
Apple bottom jeans, boots with the